Okay, guys, thanks for jumping on to this MIG training video. We're going to talk about the stoplight system. This is my quote-unquote claim to fame. I need to go through this training real quick, but the backstory to the stoplight system is I was so bad in the home for my first 6-8 months in this business. I was lucky if I was closing 50%, and I needed to figure out a way to bring out more emotion, to connect with my clients, and ultimately have our clients sell us on why they need this. And you've heard me say it a whole bunch of times. Prices don't matter. Clients do not care about the product features, the carriers, their A ratings, actuarial tables, all the things that we talk about. They don't care. The old saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, is so true with what we do. The other saying that definitely is true is God made us with 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So we can talk half as much as we listen twice as much as we talk, and that is so very true. And I had a hard time doing that. I was talking a lot or going right into prices, and I needed to figure out a way to slow down. The stoplight system is a series of 3 questions that will help you bring out emotion. The answers to those 3 questions will determine whether or not you can move forward or you need to slow down or stop, right? Just like a stoplight system. Green is go, yellow slow, red dead. You can't move forward. And too many of us are so quick to pull out this sheet that you're seeing here and go into prices. $5 for something they don't want is too much money. Do not show any prices unless they have thoroughly convinced you that they need the insurance. Let me repeat that. Do not show any prices unless they have thoroughly convinced you that they need the product. Don't waste their time. Don't waste your time going through a bunch of options for something they don't want or need. Don't do it. You walk into the home, build rapport for 10-15 minutes, sit down at the kitchen table, you hand them the lead that they filled out, and now the stoplight system begins. Question number 1. As you hand them the letter, you ask them, why am I here? Why did you fill this out? What were you thinking when you filled this out? I make sure that they both read the letter, they're both aware of the letter. I ask them what on the letter made them fill that out, and then I stop talking. Why am I here? What did you fill this out for? What was your main concern? And then I listen. If I were to ask you, when do you think their strongest buying emotional need was? You would probably have to say when they filled out the letter, right? They opened the letter, read it, realized something was important on there, enough so to fill it out with a lot of personal information and mail it back to a complete stranger. That's pretty strong. We need to figure out what that was. Based on their answer, that will determine whether or not we move forward. Let me give you an idea of a green answer, a good answer. Well, if something happens to me, I want to make sure my family has a home to live in. That's a great answer. Let me give you an idea of a very poor answer. Well, I just wanted some information. I wanted to see how much it costs. You guys ever hear that one before? So what do most agents do, or some agents do? Okay, you want price? Here, let me show you a price. It's no good. We need to ask follow-up questions. No matter what the answer is, we need to ask a follow-up question. Okay, so great. You wanted to get a little bit more information on what exactly? What did you want more information on? Well, I wanted to get a little bit more information on, what this would do if I were to pass away. Okay, so tell me a little bit more about that. Why is that such a big concern for you? Do you guys have anything that would take care of that? Or Mary, how do you feel about that? Do you think that's pretty important if something were to happen to him, that you guys had something? So I'm asking follow-up questions. I'm not just taking it for face value. Also, with a green light answer, a good answer like, hey, I want to make sure that my family is taken care of, I get them to elaborate a little bit. Okay, great. Tell me why. Tell me why you say that. Why do you feel that way? Well, because, the housing industry is rough, and if something happens to me, I know Mary couldn't keep the house, or I couldn't afford the house without her, and I don't want to sell it, or we can't sell it anyway. Okay, great. So I'm getting them to elaborate. So after you get a good, solid answer on the first question, which is, why am I here? Why did you fill this out? You can move on to the second stoplight. Here's the second stoplight. And you guys maybe should write this down. We're going to do a conference call on it as well. We try and do one at least every other week on this exact thing. Second stoplight, how important is that to you? I know that seems like a very simple question, but listen, here's why. I got into the bad habit of telling people why it was so important. Yeah, John, you're absolutely right. The reason why this is so important is because X number of people pass away every year, and X number of foreclosures take place. And I gave him statistics to back it up, and it all made sense and sounded great to me. But he doesn't care. They don't care. They don't care if it's important to me. It should be. It's our job. What we think is important doesn't matter. What's important to them is all that matters to them, right? So let's get them to talk about why it's important. Is that important to you, John? Oh, yeah, absolutely. If something happens to me, I don't want to leave my family out high and dry. Or what if they say no? Okay, well, that would obviously be a red light. No, it's not that important to me. Okay, well, why do you say that? Well, I have insurance through my work. Okay, well, John, let me ask you this. Is that the only coverage you have? Yeah. Well, that's really designed to replace your income. It says here that your loan amount is $200,000. If you don't mind me asking, how much coverage do you have through your job? $150,000. That's great. Here, unfortunately, that's only going to replace 2.5 years of your income, and that's if your house is paid off, which it isn't. You don't even have enough to pay off your house. That's why I'm here. Now listen, I would definitely encourage you to keep that life insurance, but here's the thing. You don't have enough to begin with. Second of all, it's not designed to pay off your house. Third of all, you're probably not going to work forever. I'm sure you plan on retiring at some point. I know, not to be negative, but sometimes people get laid off, or, they have a career change, or God forbid you were to get fired or quit or anything. I mean, things happen. And what happens if that happens and you're 65 years old, you decide to retire, you don't keep your benefits, of course, and now you have nothing, and it's so much more expensive? Or what if you're uninsurable, or you have health issues? There's so many things that could come up. You don't want your only insurance that you have to be owned by somebody else. What do you own? Do you own any coverage at all? No. Okay, well, that's why I'm here. Again, keep that insurance. It's a benefit that your employer offers, and it's great. You're paying for it, but it's great. But you need to own something. So maybe that's one of the benefit, or one of the lights, the yellow or red light. Somebody says they already have coverage. If it's outside of their employer, maybe they just have a life insurance policy. Great. I'm here to talk to them about mortgage protection, not life insurance. Mortgage protection is designed to pay off your house. Life insurance is designed to replace your income. What do you have that's going to pay off your house? Well, I would use my life insurance to pay. Okay, so what do you have that's going to replace your income? I would use my life. Well, wait a second. We can't use the same thing for two different things. You only have $100,000 of coverage. You don't even have enough to pay off your house. So the only way we can get to these kinds of answers is by asking questions. Is that important? Is this important to you, John? That's a great question to ask, because it could uncover any potential objections. I can't teach you how to avoid objections. I'm sorry, I can't teach you how to, I can't teach you how to avoid objections, guys, but I can teach you how to get them out of the way early. And sometimes that's the best thing we could do, is just get them out of the way early and not have to worry about it as much later on in the appointment. So let's say we get a good answer to, is this important to you on a scale of 1 to 10? How important is this to you? If it's not a 12 or a 10, why? Why isn't this important to you? And it allows you to get out more objections. Finally, if you feel comfortable, the third and final stoplight is, if something were to happen to either one of you and you do not have this insurance, what would happen? And this is a question that I used to not feel comfortable asking, because basically what are we saying? John, you're dead. Mary, what are you doing? And I never felt comfortable asking that. So I had to figure out a way to do it in a way that I felt comfortable, that of course wouldn't offend them. But it is an important question. We need to know it. So just because it's not a comfortable one doesn't mean we shouldn't ask it. So here's how I used to ask. John, Mary, I really don't feel comfortable asking this question, but I feel like I need to. And usually by then they're saying, no, go ahead, what do you need to know? Well, I'm a little concerned. I don't feel like you have anywhere near enough to comfortably be able to afford this house should something happen to either one of you, based on what you've told me so far. So I guess I'm trying to figure out, if something, God forbid, were to happen to either one of you, what is your plan? What would you do? And here's the thing, guys. A lot of times they don't even know how to answer it. Because people don't wake up on a Wednesday morning and say, hey, Mary, hey, you know what? I was just wondering, if I were to die, what would you do with this house? People don't think about it, and rightfully so. It's not the funnest thing to talk about. But we still need to know. And even if they can't give us a great answer, I think just getting them to think about it a little bit is sometimes all it takes. So when we ask them this question of what would you do if you don't have this insurance and something were to happen to you, either one of you, and they start to think about it, well, I don't know, I guess we'd have to try and sell this house, or I might have to pick up a second job, or I don't know what I would do. Okay, well, I understand then why you would fill out this request and why this is so important to you. But we need to ask that question a little bit more often. So again, to summarize, guys, the first stoplight, why am I here? Why are you so concerned about this? What is it that you're concerned about? Second stoplight, how important is that to you? Is that important to you? Is it important to the both of you? And why? And the third and final one is, okay, now if you didn't do this and something were to happen to either one of you, what would happen? All three extremely important questions. Thought-provoking, they bring out a lot of emotion. And at the end of those three questions, if you feel like you have solid green light answers, only at that point would I suggest moving into prices. So you're talking what, 10 minutes of building rapport, another 10, 20 minutes of asking questions and listening to their answers? Finally, after all that, maybe go into prices. And here's how I transition into prices. John, Mary, I want to help you with this. It sounds like this is something that's pretty important that we should probably, take care of. So let me explain first what my two jobs are. My first job, I am not an insurance salesman. My job is to help you find an insurance company that I hope will approve the both of you. But I'm not the insurance company either. I've seen healthy people get approved. I've seen sick people get declined. I've seen sick people get approved. Healthy people get declined. Whatever happens, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just the messenger. I'm just the paperwork guy. I'm kind of like the field underwriter. But based on what you've told me over the phone and the little bit of information I've gathered from you so far, this is the company that I think would be the best fit for the both of you. At that point, I pull out a brochure. I briefly talk about the company that I decided to go with, and I mean briefly. So I decided to go with ING. They're A-rated, been around for a very long time, $1.3 billion in surplus, A-rated. I'm sure you've heard of them. They're great. That's it. My second job is to help you find something that fits your budget. I don't know what your budget is, but I did come prepared with a couple different options. But if none of these options that I have prepared make sense for you financially, that's okay. Just let me know, and I could, put together some different options for you real quick. Is that fair? So what you've done by explaining those two jobs, that you're not the insurance company, but this is the one that you think is the best fit, you've eliminated the I need to shop around objection, because you already have done that for them. You're a broker. You work with two dozen different carriers at your disposal. They don't need to shop around. You've done that. And the second thing is the I need to think about it, which is code for I can't afford it. Well, if you only show them one price and it's not in their budget, and they don't know that they can tell you how much they want to spend, you're going to have a rough go. So make sure that you do that. You'll eliminate some more objections before they even come up. And hopefully at that point, it's just a matter of finding something that fits their budget, doing the paperwork, and you're on your way. So hopefully that helps, guys. The stoplight system's pretty simple. We do conference calls on it all the time. But if you have any questions on it or about it, feel free to let us know. If you feel like you're getting any objections that I didn't cover, certainly shoot me an email. I'll tell you how I normally handle it, how some of our producers handle it, and we'll go from there. Thanks so much, guys. Let us know what we can do to help. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.